welcome to my channel, and in case you have not seen from the title, I'm actually celebrating. This is a celebratory video, and I thought I'd go over some of my secrets in how I do stuff. But yeah, I have made it to 100 subscribers, and I know that's a very, very small milestone compared to some like with millions of subscribers, but I feel like this is an accomplishment because it's taken me quite a bit to get here and quite a bit of studying and figuring out what all fits and what does not, which is partially what I want to talk about in this video today. So for those who know, there was at one point where YouTube, when it first started, and even as late as several years ago, when it was essentially the Wild West. People were trying to figure out what all would get. The partnership program didn't come on until some YouTubers were already established. And there was a lot going on, and then of course you had the apocalypse and stuff like that. But for the most part, YouTubers had to figure out stuff on their own. They had to figure out what would make something go viral, and sometimes it would not be very automatic. There's no set formula, but they would have to try to figure out things on their own, figure out what videos got views, what videos did not. It was very much a learning curve. But I am one of those people who, even though I started out doing stuff on the learning curve, especially if you see some of my earlier videos, I took advantage of something called the YouTube Studio. Now, for those of you who don't know, in case you're not a full-time YouTuber, there's something now called the YouTube Studio, which gives you a number of different tools in order to figure out how to make a video, and also helps you how to make videos and stuff like that. But there's something called YouTube Analytics, and it specifically analyzes your videos, analyzes your viewing audience, and figures out what all is going on within that analytics and what exactly happened. I have been using that in order to figure out how to do my videos, and it's obviously paid off dividends because I went from, I think I only had 50 subscribers not too long ago to getting to 100 subscribers, maybe even less than that. I may have gone at 30 now that I think about it. Either way, I was through this that I was able to figure out what all was going in the channel and what all was not, especially considering that they show a top 10. They show what videos are being watched within the last 48 hours, and it's been very helpful in that regard. And also I look at certain trends, certain topics that maybe are a little bit more likely to get views, and that's why I start certain videos. That's why I started doing my Sovereign Citizen series, because I knew that it got views, and every time that I do a video about sovereign citizens, I get more subscribers and I get views, and I usually use the wave of views there in order to put in more videos for my other stuff, which even though they may get views, they may not get as much. It's a way of expanding my audience, having diversity in that regard. And then there's certain videos that I like to try to experiment with and that I'd like to do as more passion projects, but don't get as much. For example, my time travel theory videos, those actually don't get that many views. If you go back and look at the view counts, they aren't that high, which is weird because I thought that they would be something that would be garnering more views, especially when I tried to do some of the releases around the times of these certain movies that you would think would be getting attention toward that genre. The problem is some of those, like Fantasy Island, were duds. As a result, they didn't really get that many views, and it was one of those things. Surprisingly, my Bill and Ted video was actually one of the videos that actually got more views within my series. So there's definitely the potential there. I just need to figure things out a little bit more with that regard. But some of my more successful series, like my Soda Guru series, my Sovereign Citizen series, my Boss Tape series, which there's actually going to be more of those coming this month because it's October, are clear examples of my success in that I figured out, you know what, those get more views, I might as well get those views, and they have been some of the more consistent videos on my channel where they're long-term investments. That's something that people need to realize, that some of these videos aren't just one and done. They are long-term investments that people are going to be constantly watching. You look at some videos from channels like Jenna Marble, Matthew Santoro, Smosh, just about any YouTuber. People keep coming back to watch those videos because those are classics, and they will come back and they will watch those. Like, even though there are some successes of videos that get tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of views, some of those are actually long-term investments. They get those numbers of views over time. And then there's some videos that I realized were successes, but were not as expected and are very niche things. Like my shirt ripping experiment was something I didn't think would get that many views, but it was actually the top trending video on my channel for a little while, and currently it's still one of the top trending videos on my channel over the past month. It's one of those long-term investment things. And then there's something that's a lot more niche, like my micronation videos, which surprisingly, before I started doing stuff like my Sovereign Citizen videos and my Lost Tapes reviews, were actually pretty successful. The thing was, because of how niche it is and how there's only so many micronations to visit, especially around this area, and even in Southern California, when I was living in Southern California or in the Central Valley, there are not a lot of micronations to visit. Also, there's only so much you could do in terms of topics. I mean, I could probably do things on the individual nations, but the fact of the matter is, there's only so much you could do with that genre, and as a result, I can only do so many videos when it comes to that. Make no mistake, I will do more micronation videos. It's just one of those things where I have to figure out when to do it, when it's right, like maybe when I go to MicroCon next year. But another example of a surprising success was, as I mentioned, my Lost Tapes videos. Now, Sovereign Citizens, that's not surprising because if you look at any Sovereign Citizen video from a major channel, those are going to get views regardless. You just put Sovereign Citizen in the title, people are going to watch those. What I did not expect to be a success was my Lost Tapes reviews. For those of you who don't know, Lost Tapes was a found footage horror cryptid series that came out on Animal Planet about a decade ago. So the thing's been dead for almost a decade. I never knew that there was an audience for that, but apparently there is because people go and watch it. It may have to do with cryptozoology, but either way, it's definitely a fascinating series, and I continue to practice it. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a heavy emphasis on it next month. And there's a lot of lore to do there. I could probably do that for a good many years and still have a lot to cover. Either way, I'm always looking at improvements, always looking at topics to possibly do. I'm not out of ideas yet, and I'm certainly not going to run out of any in the near future. I'm going to continue on with my channel, regardless of how far I am from getting back on the partnership program. I may never get back on the partnership program. Either way, right now this is a hobby, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So yeah, as I said, thank you very much for subscribing. It is definitely an honor to get there, even though it's only a tenth of the way back to this partnership program. It's very much appreciated. I consider any milestone a success. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you think I should do next. Maybe talk about some of the videos. Be sure to follow me at Matthew Salzar on both my Twitter and my Instagram. Like I said, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on in October, so be sure to tune in. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.